Hi, I'm Kate from McElerney's, and today we're going to talk a little bit about salt systems and the maintenance on them. So, if you have a salt system, then you know that from the salt that's in the water, your pool is actually making its own amount of chlorine. But that does not mean it's an all in one system, and it doesn't mean that there is nothing that you need to do. So, we are going to be posting a few other videos today on some things that you check on the system itself, but I also want to talk a little bit about chemicals. So, one of the biggest things that you need to make sure that you're doing and you're adding to your pool, whether it is a salt pool or a chlorine pool, is stabilizer. Stabilizer is a chemical that's going to help keep that chlorine level in the water so the sun is not using up your chlorine that you have available. So, the chemical that you use for a salt system to do that is going to be called START. Now, this is a once a year treatment, and not only is this going to have stabilizer built into it, but it's also going to have borates. Borates are also good to help make your water softer. It's actually almost like putting bath salts into your pool. It's going to have a really nice smell and it's going to give the water a softer feel. So it's kind of an all-inclusive product that's going to help you do that. So we recommend doing this once a season. For a 24-foot or below, you can use a 20 or a 10-pound bucket here. If you have above a 24-foot or an in-ground pool, we do suggest a 25-pound bucket once a year. Now, borates are also something that will kind of build up over time. So you'll actually notice a difference after a couple of years of using this. Your water will continue to get softer. It will have an extra sparkle. And honestly, if you have ever, not used this product and start using it, you are going to see such a difference in the pool itself. Now that's once a year. Now there's also going to be some chemicals that you are going to use on a normal basis. So you still have to monitor your pH. With the salt system, you will tend to run a high pH. It's just a byproduct of the salt system itself. When it makes chlorine, it is going to raise the pH. So pH decreaser is something to have on hand, and definitely just something to keep an eye on. A lot of times, I'll get a lot of people say, well, my pool is clear, so they're not doing anything to it. And with the salt system, yes, it will keep the pool clear, but it is not all inclusive. So make sure that you're checking that pH. High pH will, burn your eyes, wrinkle your liner. It can do a lot of damage. Same with low pH. But if you have a salt system, high pH is what you're going to be battling. Versus using traditional chlorine tablets, you'll be battling the opposite. They're going to lower your pH. So pH increaser is something that you want to keep on hand. Now, the other two products that you're going to use with your salt system on a regular basis. Now, if you have a salt system and you've never used these products before, again, yes, your salt system will work. Yes, your pool will be clear, but these are two products that are going to kind of just keep things running more smoothly. This clean is it's exactly what it says. It does have an algicide built into it, but it also is an enzyme. It's going to help keep the inside of that cell nice and cleaned out. It's going to help with oils, lotions, makeups, things like that. I personally put this in my pool on Sunday evenings. The weekends are usually heavy bather load. We're spending all kinds of time in the pool, sunscreen, all of the things. The next day, you can literally see a difference. The stuff that this pulls out, the oils and everything, when you check your skimmer sock, it's honestly disgusting. So if you have not used this, if you have a little bit of a cloudy water, or especially if you notice that after you have a heavy bather load, this is the product for you. And again, it also has some algicide built into it. So a lot of times algae spores will kind of be trapped into the liner. This is going to get in there and it's going to keep that from happening in case that chlorine level bottoms out at all. The other chemical, this one is called Boost, that you're going to use once a week. Now we can gauge you when you come in, what size, how much you use, whether you use a full bottle, quarter bottle, half a bottle. We'll tell you the dosages. But Boost is going to be the other one. This is an oxidizer. So because you have a salt system, you're not technically shocking your pool, right? It's making chlorine all the time. But shock is not just to raise your chlorine level, it's also to kind of oxidize and gas off all of the contaminants. So your salt system is making chlorine. It's killing all of that bacteria, anything that gets entered into it at that time. But if you do not raise that chlorine level up really high, which is not, something you do with a salt system, then you're not oxidizing, you're not gassing it off, you're not getting it out of there. This is a non-chlorine shock that is going to help do that without raising that chlorine level high and being able to keep that low amount of chlorine like you want to have with a salt system. So again, can you use a salt system without these two products and using them weekly? Yes, but these are going to make things run a lot smoother. They're going to help, that cell, you're going to last longer. your pumps and everything. And then especially this borate here, like if you have not been using this, that's one that I highly, highly suggest. Get that nice soft water feeling, get that stabilizer. Anytime you are helping that salt cell work less harder, then you are prolonging its life. And if you have a salt system, that is the most expensive part, right? It's making that amount of chlorine. Once it's made its a lot amount of chlorine, then it's time to replace. So, prolong that cell, help it out, and, get the most use out of it.